everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if this is your first time here. My name is Courtney Violetta, and today we're going to be talking all about prosperity blockages, where they come from, and how to know if you have one. So a few nights ago, I was actually just laying in bed and thinking about where my life was 1 year ago, and it has completely done a 180 since then. And I just was astounded because I had never really taken the time to do a bird's eye view and see where I was and where I am now. And from 1 year ago, I have made 4 times the amount of money that I was making then, and it just blows my mind like how I was able to completely demolish these blockages. I'm sure I still have some, but the core ones that I had, I completely disintegrated. And I did this through a deep healing ceremony on the Lionsgate portal 88, which is coming up. It might be by the time this video is out. And in this ceremony, I just found the core beliefs about abundance and money that I had absolutely no idea existed within myself. So in this video, I want to share what blockages are when it comes to financial abundance, as well as where they come from. So if that all sounds good to you, then let's get on into the video. So this was something I was talking about on TikTok, and I got a few questions asking about this type of thing, and I decided I was going to make it into an entire YouTube video because I could talk about this for a very long time. And the main question I was getting asked is, how do you know if you have a blockage towards money, abundance, financial prosperity, all of that good stuff? Because let's be honest, we love money, right? We want money. We want to be able to support ourselves and be able to enjoy our lives, which unfortunately or fortunately does require money. So it is important to have a good understanding of how to heal these blockages that naturally a lot of us have. So in our culture, talking about money is so taboo for some reason. It's like a hush-hush, secretive kind of thing that nobody really wants to talk about. And I think that's something that definitely needs to change. Like, I understand financial matters can be private and should be private in some instances, but I do think that it is something that we need to be able to talk more openly about, because these blockages that so many of us have are really holding us back from living our most abundant lives possible. And we want to be able to have money, right? We want to be able to live our best lives and to live our most authentic lives, which ultimately does depend on feeling safe and secure, which is a fundamental element of money. We even have these sayings in our culture like, money is the root of all evil, which we know isn't true, right? Money itself isn't evil. It's the intention and action behind it that could be seen as evil, or it could be seen as a totally good thing. It depends on who and what the intention is behind that transaction. Money is just energy at the end of the day, right? We not only have societal wounds that are affecting us, but we also have generational wounds that are affecting us too. Whether it's your parents growing up in poverty, or your grandparents growing up in the Great Depression, or maybe even you had relatives that were really wealthy and suddenly lost it all. There are many different instances that these wounds can really be affecting us today. And it's something that we're not even aware of. It's literally in our DNA. Because of epigenetics, we're able to see that the wounds, patterns, and cycles of our ancestors are affecting us to this day in our own body. It is literally within our DNA. It's actually believed that we hold the patterns and cycles of our past 7 generations, and it's up to us whether or not we continue that for another 7 generations. So right now in this body, you have the option to release these patterns and these blockages so that the next 7 generations will be free. So a lot of pressure, I know. But we not only hold the wounds and traumas of our ancestors, right? We were able to see patterns for ourselves when we were little kids. But trust me, we did not come out of the womb thinking I have to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life, digging myself into a hole only to retire when I'm 65 and then finally enjoy my life. Like, no, that's not something we inherently knew. That is something that we were taught or observed as kids. Like, maybe you grew up in poverty and you saw what a struggle it was to have food put on the table. Or maybe you were somebody who grew up pretty well, but you could just feel this underlying sense of stress around money that was never really discussed. So you knew inherently that money was a cause of stress. Or maybe you had a parent who was working all day, every day, and would come home really late at night and was never really around because they were working so hard to provide. So all of these different things teach us different things about money, and it causes us to have these different belief systems. So for example, if you had the parent who was working until 9 o'clock at night every day, you would then take on the belief that maybe it takes so much sacrifice just to be able to survive, and that you'll never really be able to enjoy your life because you'll constantly be working in order to feel secure. So in order to figure out if you have prosperity blockages, which I guarantee 99% of people do, we need to ask ourselves these questions. Number 1, when was the first time that you realized money was such a powerful thing? Like, when did you realize this was able to control so many different dynamics, so many different emotions? When was that moment? Because in that moment is when your beliefs started to form, and finding that point is a key factor in being able to finally remove these blockages. So can you find that exact moment where that belief started? Number 2, when you have money, what do you do with it? Are you somebody who immediately spends all their money once they have it? Like, maybe you have $50 in your bank account for 1 week, and then on payday you get $1,000, and then a few days later all the money's gone. That is something that's really common, and a common belief around that is that you don't feel worthy or deserving of having money, because you're almost telling the universe like, whoa, I don't want this, I don't need this. Even though you do need it, it's like telling the universe like, I don't want this, I'm not deserving of it, so you'll just spend it on things. And I mean, there can be many different beliefs and blockages that are causing this, so it might not just be that one. Like, I have a different belief that I'll go into in a little bit. Or maybe you're somebody who saves all your money and like hoards it in case of an emergency. Like, you'll absolutely never touch your savings because it's almost like you need a grab bag in case of an emergency to just run. And while that can be seen as a good thing, you know, society loves savers and that's great, but at the same time, you have to check yourself. Like, where does this belief come from? Like, if you're doing it because you want to build security and stability, but you're not afraid to like touch your savings if you need it, that's perfectly fine. But if you're somebody who was like growing up and just never felt like they had security and safety, and for whatever reason they are holding on to this abundance of money just in case they need, you know, a grab bag or in case something goes wrong, that's a big problem that could be affecting you in many different areas of your life. So again, these beliefs don't necessarily just take control in terms of finances and abundance. It definitely affects us in so many different areas. Like the spender, what ways are you not feeling worthy or deserving in life? There are so many different ways that these patterns can show up in our lives when it comes to how we use our money, and that's really telling about our beliefs about ourselves. For instance, I do have a free hand with money, or at least I used to. I'm a lot better now. But I used to, you know, if I had $5 in my wallet, I would give it away. I would buy a scratch off or something, or if I saw a homeless person, I'd give them money, or I could easily, you know, spend $100 at Target really easily. Like, it's not like I have loads and loads of it in my savings just in case of an emergency. It's more like I'm just like, whatever, because money comes back to me. But by doing a deep healing ceremony about a year ago that completely changed my life, and which is why I'm making this video, it's inspiring me, I was able to find the root of the belief that, which I originally thought was that I didn't feel worthy or deserving of money, which is why I really recommend people do the deep healing work, because you're able to really find the truth behind this belief. So for me, it wasn't that. The belief that I actually have around money is actually a fear of somebody taking it from me. Like, I'm afraid to have money because I'm afraid that somebody is just gonna be like, no, that's my money. So before I did this healing ceremony, it was more of like a belief that if I had money, it was a risk because people were gonna try and take it from me. And if I didn't have money, nobody could take it from me, which just sounds illogical. But this belief formed because when I was young, I could see with my own eyes on my dad's side of him and his siblings and his parents, how little family means when it comes to money. Like, if money's involved, they will sue you, they will take everything you have, they'll try to just steal from you in like horrible ways. And this made me like distrust people when it comes to money, and just feeling like I need to be safe, or rather than hoarding it, I would just be like, you know, take it away from me, I don't even want it. I think because it showed me like the truth about how people act when it does come to money, and now I'm able to see those situations and how people can be manipulative with money still in my everyday life, but see it from that higher perspective of like, okay, I'm witnessing this, but I'm not taking it on as a belief for myself. It's not feeding that belief anymore because I don't hold on to it. But when it comes to generations past, we can see how this pattern can cycle down through our relatives. For instance, my grandmother grew up through the Great Depression, and she would tell my mom stories about how she would wear her shoes until there were no soles left in them. Like, she would just be walking basically on the ground. And my mom took that, and I can see how that pattern is going through her as well. Like, she will wear the same clothes for 20 years until it's like completely in shreds, because she just feels like it's not worth it, it's a waste to get rid of it. And I can just see how that cycle is going through her side of the family. But with my dad's side, where like there's this really nasty energy around money, I was actually able to trace it generations back to this famous potter who has pottery in like the Smithsonian and the Met, which is really cool. But I found out that in this era, when he was around, he had a huge pottery shop in New York City, and pottery back then was incredibly valuable. It was like one of the most valuable things you could have, and the British Army knew how valuable this was, so they went into his shop and destroyed absolutely everything. So I can even see all the way through his lineage where this pattern is originating from. And it's funny because I feel like this pressure to release it for all of my ancestors. So if you're in tune with that kind of thing, you might feel the same way. It might be really interesting to look back and take a bird's eye view of your family dynamics and see where this belief around money really starts or comes from, or is like the pivotal moments of where it's formed within the generations. And now you can work through it, and like, what a gift is that? So in order to not make this video too long, I'm not going to go into how to actually release these blockages, but if you're interested, let me know in the comments below, because I would love to dive deeper into this topic. I'm super passionate about like prosperity and abundance, because it's not even about money, because once you have released these blockages, everything just soars from there, because you're able to then go on to feel secure in life. You're able to then live your authentic life, and that's what we all truly want, right? Like, at the end of the day, we just all want to be happy and living our best lives possible. And that's like the goal of my channel, is to encourage you guys to live your most authentic, beautiful, magical lives. Money is pretty much the start of that. And I think it's time we all make peace with it. So at the end of the day, money is just energy, but money also has value. So if you feel like you have blockages around abundance and prosperity, I really encourage you to take a look at what it is that you value in life and how you may not be living in alignment with that. Like, if nobody else's opinions mattered, if you weren't stuck at work all day, if you didn't have stressors or bills, what would you be doing? And what would your life look like? Because let me tell you, that is possible. That is possible, and you can do it. And I really want to help you try to get there. You just have to believe that you are worth the life you dream of. I could go on and on about this, so if you're interested in more videos like this, leave a comment down below letting me know some topics you want to hear about. And subscribe if you're not already, because I would love to help give you guys some spiritual tips on living the most magical life of your dreams. So subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you guys very soon with another video. Bye!